if there was people here already when the white folks got here, why ain't they just enslave the people that was already here? Why would they bring Africans over here? Like, why even waste that trip? Why don't you just enslave the motherfuckers here? You can get people that was living on some land before you got there, make them show you how to grow some shit, and then make those people who've always lived there move from the area they lived, and then bring people here. That don't make sense to me. Why not just enslave? You can make them do all that. Why not just enslave them? Like, why? That don't make sense to me.
Right. So then the other psyop is the fact that we were the natives. We were not brought here on slave ships. That's not economically sound. It just doesn't make sense. So a lot of this stuff comes from my own common sense. It just does not make sense logistically to take people from all the way from over there to bring them here, especially when half your stock is going to die, when you got people right here. You have human resources right here. All I got to do is pop them, shoot a couple of them. The rest of them are like, all right, fine. And you enslave them. And none of them die except for the ones I actually killed, right? I got a whole millions of people right here. Like, why would I go all the way across the ocean to bring people back across the ocean? It just doesn't make sense. It's just stupid. Nobody run a business like that. When you do their DNA sample and it point back to Africa, what does that say? It says black people in America are Africans. Now, the argument is, were we brought here or were we already here? Did we bring ourselves here or did the white man bring us here? You see, when you say the white man brought us here, what you're doing is you're removing our ability to transport ourselves. You're saying, oh, we didn't know anything about boats. That's what you're trying to tell me. You're trying to tell me that we didn't know that there was a landmass here. Only the holy white man knew there was land to the west. But when you look at the holy white man, he said, when we got here, we met black people. Go look at the primary source. You got here, we met black people. When we got to the Caribbean, we met black people. You think the Caribbean is right next to America and they weren't in America?
That's interesting.
Does it make any sense?
According to the Transatlantic Slave Trade Database, 12.5 million Africans were shipped to the New World. 10.7 million survived the dreaded Middle Passage, disembarking in North America, the Caribbean, and South America. How many of those 10.7 million Africans were shipped directly to North America? Only about 388,000. That's right, a tiny percentage. So a small percentage of all the Africans that were enslaved were actually shipped to North America.
That's probably closer to the truth.
Most black folks have heard of the three-fifths compromise, but are you familiar with the one-drop rule? Anyone with a genetic makeup that wasn't primarily in accordance with European characteristics was considered a slave and or recognized as an outsider to the country. Well, because white people wasn't about to examine these people in depth and respectfully acknowledge the differentiation of phenotypes within these groups of people, since they were slaves and all, anybody of color was considered a Negro. In 1790, when the first U.S. Census was taken, the only categories of distinction were free white males, all other free persons, and slaves. It wasn't until 1820 that a free colored persons category was introduced. African Americans are a potluck of the Aboriginals of North America, the natives from the Caribbean islands, the East and Western region Africans of Africa, and Europeans. And due to centuries of misclassification through the government census and blatantly destroyed and misconstrued history, it is extremely difficult for us African Americans to determine specifically where we came from.